The Lifestyle Show, presented by Selena Mackenzie.
Now, we last chatted to Felicity Warner about her Soul Midwives Handbook back in 2017. It's now been revised and updated with new material, and she's here to tell us all about it. Welcome back to the show, Felicity.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's lovely to be back.
Where have 8 years gone?
I don't know where that time has gone. It's frightening, isn't it?
For those that didn't listen back then and that don't know, can you explain what Soul Midwives is?
Yes, absolutely. Well, Soul Midwives care for anybody who is at end of life and their families as well. And what we really specialise in is looking at the whole person holistically, not only the condition that they're facing end of life from, but everything about them. So everything about that person is the most important thing in the world to us. And we also, the other extra special thing we do is we care for them with very gentle therapeutic ways, such as sound and meditation and relaxation and comforting massage techniques, as well as being spiritual companions. So it's quite a big package, really, to explain.
Do you call them, is it right that you call them death doulas? Is that the right word?
Well, they're also, yes, we're very similar to death doulas and also end-of-life doulas. And really, all these names, these professions have really grown over the last 10 or 15 years or so.
So presumably the work that you do has to be in person, but this guidebook is for anybody, anywhere?
Absolutely. So it's a guidebook for people who are practicing as soul midwives and end-of-life doulas. But I've really focused on making this work and our techniques available and accessible to people who might be at home and looking after someone, one of their own loved ones. So it's written in a very simple style, hopefully a very friendly style, to encourage people to be able to really make a difference to their loved ones at home as well.
Can you give us an example, Felicity, of some of the tools for creating a meaningful end-of-life plan?
Yes, goodness me. Well, they vary so much. There's such a wide spread. So I have a bag that I carry around with me, a bit like a big Mary Poppins bag. And inside that, what would I have? I would have a couple of very soft, soothing blankets in different colours. I'd have a variety of essential oils. I would have some books with me with blessings and poems in that I might be able to read at the bedside. I'd have some music that I could play and playlists available. I'd have all sorts of things like that. Anything that brings comfort, a torch, a pair of woolly socks, all sorts of things that just make people feel that they're being nurtured.
And how did this all begin? Was it from a personal journey you went on?
Yes, it was. For me, it's a very long time ago now. But I really began this work actually at the age of 6, which is quite scary to think about now, as I'm now 66. But I was brought up by my lovely grandma. She was just absolutely fabulous. And sadly, when I was 14, she developed lung cancer. And in the last year of her life, I really began to look after her in a very gentle way. As she was getting less well, I was doing more and more to look after her. And eventually she did sadly pass away, and I went to see her the night she died. And I was just quite shocked, really, by how clinical the environment was in comparison with our lovely, cosy, warm house, which was a bit haphazard and a bit sort of scruffy around the seams, but there was always a lot of love in it and a cat on the end of the bed. And I just thought how how sad it is that when we go into hospital, death can become so medicalized. So that was my first encounter. But then later on in life, I was working as a health journalist, and I was in my mid-30s, and I began working with, in the end, it was 6 young women who all knew that they had breast cancer and had a limited prognosis ahead of them. And so I began writing about their stories, but really listening to the things that were affecting them more than anything else, which was feeling lonely, feeling that people weren't really touching them or hugging them much anymore, and understanding the kind of inner feelings of how it was to be facing end of life. And I began to just come up with ideas and suggestions, such as using breathing techniques, just like we do when we're in labour, to relax and reassure us, and also using lavender oil to get to sleep, and having chamomile tea to relax us, all these terribly gentle things. And one by one they were all saying, oh my goodness, this is helping so much, because it's taking off the hard edge of the clinical care that we're going through. And so over many, many, many years, and it's over 30 years now, I've built up a whole system of making people feel very loved when they're probably at their most vulnerable.
Wow, that sounds amazing. And it is true, isn't it? That's why a lot of people prefer to spend their last days at home than in a clinical environment like a hospital.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a growing trend. I think really globally, people are really wanting to be at home, be with their loved ones, have their cat on the end of the bed and all their comforts around them. And I think that's the strength of Soul Midwives and Soul Midwifery, is that we can really help people to achieve that. So this is why it's growing so fast.
And do you give advice in the handbook for caregivers or family members? But because, of course, seeing a loved one die, it's really, really tough, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's so tough. And yes, I absolutely do have a lot of advice in the book about actually extreme care that you must give yourself if you are a caregiver, because as we can all imagine, it's very easy to get very, very exhausted. So there's advice there about taking time out, again, relaxing, setting up a circle of care, for instance, where you will bring in other people to come and do certain things for you. I mean, simple things like walk your dog, or cook a meal, just to give you a little bit of time out if you're very busy looking after someone. And this is so important. So there's lots and lots of advice about that as well.
One of the things that I think, there's obviously some very cruel ways that people have end of life. But one of the cruelest ones, I think, is dementia, because I feel like for the loved one, the person's died before they physically died. Can you help with that? I mean, do memory books help? Anything, music?
Yes, they can do. Memory books can be incredibly special. And one of the other things that really I would recommend, if you are caring for someone with dementia, think back to the music that would have been really important to them at a certain stage in their life, perhaps in their 20s and their 30s, and build a playlist with some of that music in it. And that can really, really bring so much peace and calm to someone who has difficulty with their memory. Another thing that I would really suggest, and I love working with people who have dementia, is to do some very soft, gentle hand massages. And again, this doesn't need to be complicated. You just need to have some lovely scented hand cream and to do a very, very simple hand massage. And we can all do that, literally just holding the hand and working with the cream and talking gently and peacefully to that person. And I have seen that very simple technique week work absolute miracles with people who are struggling with maybe even expressing themselves because they're so locked down deep into their own bodies. So I'd really recommend that.
Great idea. And what about some of the difficult conversations? Can you give advice? For example, people don't like to talk about wills or what will happen at their funeral, but these are difficult conversations that you really should have, shouldn't you?
Oh, yes. I'm a great advocate of that as well. I think one of the things that's such a problem is that people don't like to talk about death. It's the one thing that we think, no, we don't need to do that until we absolutely have to. But in a way, if we can do that early on, and if we can explore what would be really important to us at end of life, such as where we would like to be and who we would like with us, and I don't know what complementary therapies we might like, for instance. If we can be doing all of that, that helps us to really get used to the idea of talking about this. So one of the things that I do is encourage people to create their own end of life wish plans, which has got all those sort of things in, even the sort of food they like when they're feeling miserable and they need cheering up. And then I always say, put this on your fridge so that when your family are in and they're making themselves a cup of tea, they will see what you've written and it will start a conversation. And hopefully in doing that, you are beginning to talk about those difficult things that people find so hard to discuss.
Yeah, indeed. It's great advice. And it is all about dying with dignity wherever possible.
Oh, absolutely. With dignity, with love, compassion. If somebody dies well, and they're at peace and they're calm, that has such an effect on their family as well. So the ripples of a good, dignified death spread very far and wide.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. Well, if our listeners want to find out more, the book has been revised and updated. It's called the Soul Midwives Handbook, Emotional, Spiritual and Practical Support for End-of-Life Care. It's by Felicity Warner, who we're chatting to now, and we're selling it on our website right now, tre.radio. Felicity, do you have a website as well? I know there's lots you do, with your midwifery and your books and everything else.
I am. I never stop. It's always busy. But yes, I do have a website, and I'd love people to have a look if they're interested, because I also teach other people how to do all this work as well. So there are lots and lots of ways that you could be involved in this work if you're interested. But the website is www.soulmidwives, that's with a V in the middle, .co.uk.
Well, you're doing a grand job. Keep up the good work, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much. It's been lovely to be with you.
Let's not leave it another 8 years.
No, absolutely. Call me soon and we'll have another chat.
Definitely. Thanks a lot, Felicity. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.